Article 63. It says there shall be a vice president. Then we'll talk about election of the vice president. The vice president is elected by the member of both houses of parliament. Member of both houses parliament at a joint session by secret ballot in accordance with the system of proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. Now you know the system?
So are you writing anything?
Yes, I'm writing.
So your screen is not visible.
Sorry, sorry. System of proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. Article 66 clause 1, the qualification of the vice president are same as those of president, except he must be eligible for election of Raj Sabha. All the qualifications are same except this one. In case of president, it is the he should be eligible for the election of Lok Sabha. However, in case of Raj Sabha, in case of vice president, he should be eligible for the election of Raj Sabha. Here, we figure out this one thing that he should be voter in any of the constituency in India. He should be, if you have to become a member of parliament, then you should be voter in any of the constituency in India. For example, I'll give you an example. Let's talk about Prime Minister Modi. So Prime Minister Modi is registered, I think, in Gujarat. He has vote in Gujarat, but he is a MP from Varanasi, right? So it means that it's not necessary that the place from where you are contesting you should be registered in that particular constituency for the Lok Sabha. You can be registered in any of the state. Does it applicable on Rajya Sabha also?
I guess yes, sir.
It is applicable for Rajya Sabha also. Okay. Uh, if UPSC is asking this kind of question, don't get confused. So this is the only difference between the qualification. The term of vice president is 5 year. He may resign from his office before the expiry of the normal term. All of you know this thing. He may also be removed by a resolution of Rajya Sabha. How? Again, I'll repeat. This is little bit important. A resolution passed by Rajya Sabha by a majority of all the members of the House and agreed to by a majority of Lok Sabha. Any doubt? Any doubt, please?
No, sir. Sir, I have a doubt.
Yes.
Sir, in Rajya Sabha is simple majority or special majority?
See, it's nothing mentioned special majority. It's simply mentioned that by a majority of its member at that time. So it's a simple majority only, I think. It's not mentioned special majority or simple majority. It's simply written that by a majority of all the members of the house at that time.
Okay, sir.
All right. Anyone, any other question? And it should be agreed by the Lok Sabha also, by a majority of the Lok Sabha. Then such a resolution can be moved only after giving 14 days notice of the intention to move the resolution. So 14 days notice is necessary. Salary and allowances are determined by the Salaries and Allowances of Officer of Parliament Act. Listen carefully. The salary, if the question comes and question come by something like that, they write President or Vice President Act or something like this, then that is not the answer. The answer is his salary will be determined by salaries and allowances of officers of Parliament Act 1953. Hopefully, you understood this thing. This thing you need to note down. Okay. Now, question I have for you: can it be amended? Can this act be amended? आप लोग माइक ओपन करके प्लीज बोला करो. एटलीस्ट स्पीक अप.
Yes, sir, it can be amended. Yes, sir.
Yes, it can be amended. The function of the vice president. The vice president of India shall be a ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. He is a ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. Article 64. His normal function is to preside over meeting of the Rajya Sabha. Second thing, he is not a member of the Rajya Sabha, therefore he does not vote in general. When I am saying in general, but can he vote in the Rajya Sabha? This is my question for you.
Yes, sir.
When can he vote?
Sir, when both sides are equal, he has the casting vote right.
Tiebreaker. So he has the casting vote, and it's in the case of Lok Sabha also. Lok Sabha speaker. But Lok Sabha speaker is the member of Lok Sabha. That is the difference. Whenever the office of the President of India is vacant, he acts as president. until a new president is elected. Article 65 clause 1 provides that when a vacancy occurs in the office of president by reason of president's death, resignation, uh, removal, or otherwise, the vice president shall act as president until the date on which a new president is elected to fill such vacancy. Any doubt in this?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Now, Article 65 Clause 2, it provides that the president is unable to discharge his function owing to absence. Whose mic is on? Discharge the function of president, he shall have all the powers and immunities of the president and be entitled to such emoluments, allowances, and privileges as may be determined by parliament by law until provision in that behalf is so made. So, are you getting that what it is saying that he will get the emoluments, allowances, and privileges that will be determined by the parliament if he is acting as a president when president is absent due to illness or some other reason until provision in that behalf is so made shall be such as those specified in second schedule. All right, so this is all about vice president function and all. Now let's get back to the president, power of the president. Any doubt if you have, you can ask here till now, because then the train will move to another station.
So kindly repeat that salary and allowances part once more.
See, I said that when president is not available, okay, that means that due to illness or some uh, other reason, whenever vice or during the period while vice president is acting or discharging the function of president. So be you know that when vice president can function as a president or discharge the function of president, you know this thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in this case, when he is discharging the function of president, he shall have all powers and immunities of the president. So whatever power and immunities president is having, he will also be having the same, and he'll be entitled. Now, this point you need to listen carefully. He'll be entitled to such emoluments, allowances, and privileges as may be determined by parliament by law. So parliament will decide what will be his privilege, what will be his allowances. And if there is no law, then it will be governed as specified in second schedule. ठीक है श्वेता?
Yes, sir. So this is the case when he is acting as on the position of president.
Yes, this is the case when he is acting, when he is functioning as president, when he is discharging the function of president, basically. That would be much better. You didn't get it.
Got it.
If not, then I can explain again.
No, sir, I understood it.
Okay. Now let's talk about the powers of the president. First thing, all executive power are exercised by him directly or through subordinate officer. This thing you know or not? all executive power of union is vested in him and exercised by him or through subordinate officers. This is the one thing. Second thing, he is ex officio chairman, sorry, ex officio supreme commander of the defense forces, all wars are fought in his name. It means he can declare war and peace, and all peace treaties are negotiated in his name. इतना कोई डाउट है तो पूछो. He makes all important appointment. When I'm talking about all important appointment, it means appoint governor. Okay, so we know that he can appoint the governor. What about lieutenant governors? Can he appoint them? So we have a question for you. We know that president can appoint the governor, but do you think that he can appoint lieutenant governor also? Um, Surbhi, Ekta, Ekta, what do you think? Surbhi is saying yes. Do you think the same way? Because we see in Delhi that lieutenant governor is, we always say that he is the man of union government or prime minister. So, what president has to?
Yes, sir, he is appointed by president.
Yes, very good.
He
Lieutenant
advises
governor.
on the council of ministers.
Yes, lieutenant governor is appointed by the president. So, in this list, governor and lieutenant governor.
So your screen is not visible right now.
It's not visible for you, it's not visible for everyone. It's not visible since the beginning or what?
Visible.
Sir, it's not
Yes,
visible.
sir.
Now it is visible. So
Earlier it was,
now it's visible.
earlier it was not visible when I was writing this power of president and all.
No.
Oh,
No, sir.
oh, sorry, you should have told me. See this power of president, I have written everything. Lieutenant governor and chief justice of India and judges of Supreme Court. What about high court judges?
So governor.
Okay, so statement is that high court judges are appointed by the president of India. This statement is correct or incorrect? Or chief justice, maybe let me talk a little bit more. Chief justice of a high court is appointed by the governor of a state. This statement is correct or incorrect? One by one I'll ask. Amit.
Sorry. So could you please once repeat?
Question is, chief justice of high court is appointed by the governor of a state. This statement is correct or incorrect? Amit.
Incorrect.
Ekta.
So I'm getting confused.
नहीं, आप तो यस नो बोल दो, कंफ्यूज मत हो.
I think yes.
ठीक है. पारुल.
Sir, incorrect.
प्रज्वल.
So incorrect. President.
रत्नप्रिया.
So incorrect.
सम्राट.
Incorrect.
संगीता.
Sir, incorrect.
सुरभि तो इनकरेक्ट बोल दिया. श्वेता.
The president appoints judges of High Court.
आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ हाई कोर्ट.
Yes, sir. President appoints Chief Justice.
विनीत.
Incorrect.
ठीक है, इनकरेक्ट है. आपने प्रज्वल पहले गलत बोल दिया था, है याद आपको?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है, तो ये चीज़ें छोटी छोटी याद रखो, और आप छोटी छोटी चीज़ें काफ़ी गड़बड़ कर देते हो. सो बाद में आपने ठीक बोला. चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ हाई कोर्ट एंड हाई कोर्ट जजेस appointed by the president. Then prime minister and union minister. Then chief election commissioner. Then CAG, member of UPSC. Member of finance commission. Member of interstate council. SC/ST commissions member. SC/ST backward class and minorities commission linguistic officer. So all these are appointed by the president of India. There is a very big list. Apart from these functionaries also there are many. What okay, so this is the list. थोड़ा सा याद रखना पड़ेगा. These are factual things and you need to remember. Then he makes rule for the more convenient transaction of business of the government and allocate among ministers such businesses. Ab you must have seen that someone is home minister, someone is maybe minister of finance, someone is defense minister. So these portfolio also and what we call it, these businesses, these are also allocated by the president. Though it's on the advice of prime minister, everything prime minister does, but at least for namesake he must be informed of all decision of council of ministers. ये चीज़ important है. Then he govern union territories through the administrator or LG, lieutenant governor. He has the power to remove his minister individually. Remember this thing. Individual minister can also be removed. Do you okay, so I want to ask one thing, that recently there were some ministers who are no longer minister. Can you recall any name? Recently, in last 1 2 year, it has happened. There were people who used to be minister, cabinet minister, and now they are not. So I want to ask if you can recall such instances. Have you heard the name of Ravi Shankar Prasad? Anyone? Okay, so he used to be law minister. Now he's no longer law minister. He's just not a law minister. He's not a minister only, and he. So who removed him? He was removed by president only. So remember that individually ministers can be removed. Now we'll talk about the Attorney General of India. The Attorney General of India is appointed by whom? बताओ आप.
So president.
ठीक है. And removed by?
Removed by the president on the advice of the Council of Ministers.
Okay. Attorney General of India is a constitutional post or not?
It is.
Yes, it is. Good. Then he removes the governor of the state also. And this is important. Chairman and member of state public service commission plus. So he removes these state public service commission plus unions also. Now important thing to note that he does not appoint member and chairman of state public service commission, but he removes them. So this point you need to remember. If appointing authority is governor, but removing authority is the president of India. He removes judge of High Court, Supreme Court. He removes election commissioner, though it has to be passed in parliament. Everything has to go through the parliament, but the final authority, when parliament passed it, then president removes. So president is the final authority. So these were the some executive power. It is, however, to be noted that he has to exercise his executive power on the advice of the Council of Ministers. Let's talk about military power, or first let's talk about legislative power. The president has power to summon. I am writing down these points, though we'll discuss when we'll be doing parliament, but I want you to cover each of these, and you have to text me the meaning. After this class you'll be having 2 hours. Summon, prorogue, and address the parliament. At the commencement of the first session, address the parliament at the commencement of the first session, after each general election, and the first session of each year. So there are two things. After first session, after each general election. So in every 5 year, mostly generally in every 5 year we have election, and after the new parliament assembly comes up, so president address it after the general election. Second, first session of each year. Now, if we talk about first session of each year, what does it mean? What is the first session of parliament? Tell me.
So budget session.
Yes, budget session. So you must have seen the president comes up and president will address. So president basically lays down the policy for the year, that this is what we have done, this is what we'll be doing, and it he just narrates the government stand. Then he may send, yes, okay, one more thing. He also summon a joint sitting. Joint sitting means both houses are coming together. When he does so, if there is disagreement or what we call it deadlock between two house. So basically what happens, let's say there is a ordinary bill. We are not going into too much in that detail, because when we'll be doing parliament we'll focus on this thing, but just to let you know, I'm telling you. So let's say there is a bill, normal bill, and parliament and what you call parliament, both houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, they have disagreement. They are not agreeing on the same thing. Then government will, sorry, then the president will summon a joint sitting, that okay, come together and remove this deadlock. This joint sitting will be presided over by the Speaker of Lok Sabha. This much you know for now. The detailed detail you'll get when we'll be doing parliament. So this is one of the legislative power he is having. Second thing, he may send message to either house of parliament in regard to any bill or any other matter. So if question is coming and question is asking you that he can only send a bill with regard to a bill, he can only send a message with regard to bill only, then that statement would be incorrect. The, because not only bill, in any other matter also he can send the message. Doubt any? Anybody?
No, sir.
Fine. Now we'll talk about next one. There are certain reports like CAG report. What CAG does? CAG first will submit its report to whom? Tell me. अभी क्वेश्चन आपको दो तरीके से आ सकता है. Question can be asked, what are the reports that president submits or president lay before the parliament? This is one. The other one, that what are the reports that are submitted to the president? So it can be asked both way. अभी आप बताओ मुझे.
So to president, and he would lay to the parliament.
Yes, so CAG will submit its report to the president and president will lay in the parliament. First thing. Second thing, UPSC report. UPSC will send its report to the president, president will lay it before the parliament. Then annual financial statement also. Though it is done initially, I have told you, now you can say where does president come? What happens, that president either exercise his power himself or through his officer. I have already told you that ministers are also his officers, and therefore ministers lays down these report in the parliament. Annual financial statement, This is also there. So these are the things he does, and there are other reports also. So we'll discuss some other time. But for now, like Finance Commission recommendation, I can tell you, and uh, what else? UPSC report, as I have already told you, the reports of Special Commission for Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribes, so SC/ST Commission reports, the report of backward classes, the report of Special Officer for Linguistic Minorities. So all these reports are laid down by the President in the Parliament. Now, you know that these functionary will submit its report to the president, and president will lays down these reports in the parliament. Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. He can appoint any member of Lok Sabha to preside over its proceeding. Listen carefully. When office of speaker and deputy speaker vacant, when these two fall in the backend, see that system is different, that they have this panel of speaker or panel of deputy speaker. That is a totally different thing. But what here I am telling, that when these office speaker and deputy speaker, if they fall vacant, then he can appoint any member of Lok Sabha to preside over its proceeding. Any doubt? Similarly, he can also appoint any member of the Rajya Sabha to preside over its proceeding when both the office of chairman and deputy chairman, when they fall vacant, then also he can appoint a person to preside over the proceeding of Rajya Sabha. Hopefully this point is clear. Don't mix it with that panel. The condition is here when both are the offices fall vacant. There are certain wills. This is important. There are certain wills that cannot be introduced in the parliament without the previous sanction or recommendation of the president. So I'm going to list down these bills. Please note down. Creation or reorganization of state. आपको कल मैंने बोला yes. So this is one thing, creation or reorganization of state. Under which article? Anyone? Tell me, article 2 or 3.
Sir, Article 3.
Okay.
Sir, Article 2.
आप लोग डिसाइड कर लो क्या बोलना है आपको. It's a 2 or 3. And please, you need to speak up because I can't see that.
So Article 2 maybe. Creation of meters in Article 2.
What is article 3 then?
So Article 3 is about the
alteration, as in the name, the boundaries, and so on, which is also similar.
Now listen carefully.
The name, area, and boundary of a state.
Listen carefully. Article 2 provides Parliament may by law admit into the Union or establish new state on such terms and conditions as it thinks fit. Second thing, listen now. Let me tell you Article 2 and 3 also, so it would be quite clear for you. Now, here one term we have used, that is what? This is admit. Let's talk about first Article 2 and 3. It would make the job clear. And then Article 2 provides Parliament may by law admit into Union. So first thing is that focus on this term admit into the Union, or first thing what it can do, it can admit. Second thing, or establish a new state on such terms and conditions as it thinks fit. This is Article 2. Maybe we'll discuss other things tomorrow, but today we'll be discussing these two important things. Now, here there is this expression admit. The act admit refers to the admission of a state already in existence as a state. The meaning of admit is here that the admission of a state already in existence as a state, that is, so you understand that already it's a state, but you are admitting one state into another state. That is what I'm saying. Second thing, creation. There are two things. Creation means it refers, sorry, establish, not creation, establish. The term establish refers to the creation of a state where none existed before. दो केस हो सकते हैं. एक केस state already existing. Second thing, it does not exist but it will be created. I'll tell you more detail. It will make the picture clear. Any new state may be admitted into the Union in any of the in any of these ways. First, let's say that an inferior category such as Union Territory, there is a inferior category because we call it UT as an inferior category, may be raised to the status of full state. This is important thing. Here you are establishing a state, right? It was Union Territory and you are establishing it. This is the first important point. Second thing, that a foreign territory, foreign territory acquired by India. Let's say that if India acquire a foreign territory, so first you have acquired it. Now what is the status? Whether it will be UT, whether it would be a state. Then in this case, this territory that is acquired by India may be made a state. It can be made a state or UT. Okay, so again here we are, if it is made state, it was not earlier state and we are establishing it. So this is the meaning of establishment. Hopefully you are understanding the point. Third point, a territory separated from an existing state reorganized in full state. Recent example, Andhra and Telangana. Fourth point, yeah, so basically yes. So these are the 3 points. Here I want to tell you that Article 2 deals with admission of new state which may be formed of the foreign territories. Article, you need to here, this would be little bit wrong example. I'll tell you why. So article, I'm telling you that Article 2 deals with admission of new state which may be formed of foreign territories. Article 2 does not refer to the territories forming part of the existing state. So existing states, here mostly Article 2 is related to the foreign territories. If you acquire anything from foreign territory, Article 2 deals with that. Article 3 deals with the existing Indian states. Hopefully this point is clear. But just check it once, because impromptu I'm telling you all these things. So I may be wrong also, I'm not saying. That's the reason I'm asking you to at least give a reading, or maybe just check it if possible. If you can do that, that would be great help. So I'll tell you more about it. That Article 2 confers full discretion. It gives complete discretion to whom? To Parliament. About what? That what term should be imposed on new state so admitted in the union. So Parliament will decide terms and condition. And here I'll just make the comparison between different countries now. Our constitution differs from the American and Australian constitution, which accept the theory of equality of state. Each state in America sends equal number of representative in the Senate. The principle of equality applies even to the new states admitted by the Congress in the Union. Also, no readjustment of the boundaries of the state of the Union can done without the consent of the legislature of the state concerned, as well as of the Congress. In India, you know that it's all within the power of Parliament, but it is not the case in America. So, you already know this point that American Federation is the result of the agreement between various constituent independent states, right? And it is therefore obvious that the agreement cannot be altered without the consent of legislature of those states. But the Indian Federation is not the result of any agreement between independent states. None of the constituent unit of Indian Union, but sovereign and independent in the sense the American colonies were before they federated. So in America, the colonies were quite sovereign and independent. In India, this was not the case, and there is no provision of Indian constitution that gives a right to a new state after its admission into the Union of India to claim complete equality of status with a state existing at the commencement of the constitution or formed thereafter under Article 3 of the Constitution. In India, Article 2 gives complete discretion to Parliament to establish, admit new state on such and terms condition as it thinks fit. So now you know the American position and Indian position. So when we are talking about admission or establishment of new state, then we are talking about those that we actually acquired from the foreign territory. We are not talking about the existing Indian uh, territories, existing Indian UTs and existing union states. In article we are talking about some foreign, maybe from Pakistan or maybe some from other country. We acquire something from the outside. That's what. So the example can be Sikkim. Sikkim, initially it was not part of India for quite long time. If you can recall it, anyone? Whether do you can you recall it?
Yes, sir.
Later on, it became the part.
Yes, sir.
Then Article थर्ड. सो दिस इज ऑल फॉर आर्टिकल 2 आई थिंक. अब आप लोगों को आर्टिकल 2 पता चल गया होगा, ठीक है. देखो प्रेसिडेंट ने सीधा आर्टिकल 2 के पास पहुंचाया, क्या कनेक्शन है, समझ रहे हो. अब आर्टिकल 3 है. सो 3 आई डिस्कस टुमारो एंड देन वील गेट बैक टू दैट